Good morning, Orlando. It is 7:12, almost 7:13 on this fine New Year's Eve. And joining us right now, as Lizzie just said, is Joel Garris. Joel, you're very welcome. Good morning. How are you, sir?
I am fantastic, Simon. How about yourself?
I'm absolutely wonderful as well. Joel, of course, from Nelson Financial Planning. Joel, we brought you on because there's a lot of confusion around BOI, as Lizzie would say, the beneficial ownership information, which is a requirement for many United States and therefore Florida businesses to report to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. Sounds very, very serious stuff. So this has been on again, off again, right? What's been going on, first of all?
So what happened was back in 2021, the Corporate Transparency Act mandated that all small businesses have to go and make these filings by the end of this year, 2024. And, of course, it was met with a few legal challenges around the country. And one of those out of Texas actually prevailed and was able to get an injunction that then was appealed by the Department of Treasury because they want this reporting requirement for small businesses. And so on December 23rd, the Fifth Circuit said, okay, well, that's fine. We'll put it back in as a requirement. And then 3 days later, the Fifth Circuit said, okay, well, we're not going to do that. So it's now in suspension, and it's not a requirement as we sit here this morning, but it is voluntary in nature at this point.
Oh, okay. So we had heard that there was a new deadline, that court ruling was overturned, and the requirement was back there. So now it's just like, hey, if you want to tell us what's going on, that's cool, but you don't have to.
Correct. You are. You can continue to wait, and it's not a requirement at this point. Based on, I mean, there could be a court decision today that turns it again. But their most recent alert on the finsend.gov website from December 27th is that it is not required to be able to file these reports. You can do it voluntarily. Obviously, Simon, this is one that's going to go back and forth in the courts for a while. So as a small business owner, you probably want to be prepared that at some point you're going to need to file this information report.
Last time I saw a deadline, it was January 13th. Which is weird if you have a deadline for something that's voluntary. Joel, what would you be telling your clients right now that they should do with this report? How hard is it to gather the information that the government seeks, first of all?
Well, when I did it for Nelson Financial Planning, it took me about 15 minutes. So it's not instantaneous. It requires you to track down different information. You have to also upload a copy of either your driver's license or your passport. So that's probably was the part that took the most amount of time going through that process. The reality is that they are looking for identifying information of all owners of these of small businesses. Now, if you're large, more than 20 employees, more than $5 million in revenue, you actually don't have to do this. So this is really just something geared purely, unfortunately, to the 33 million small businesses that are out there in America today.
And would you tell your small business people to do it? Go ahead and do it, and then you can just put it out of your mind, or no, just wait until they make their minds up on whether to make this compulsory?
I think the best option is to wait to see whether this will actually become mandatory. Simon, just on a personal level, I don't know that we need yet another filing requirement, reporting requirement as a small business. I think there's already plenty of ways to get this information out there that already exist, and to put another burden on small business America, I think is unfortunate. So if you haven't done it, congratulations. You don't have to do it. And the reality is that, but you might have to in the future. So I guess stay tuned, right?
Yes, stay tuned indeed. Finally, the final question I have for you this morning. The incoming administration on January the 20th, this seems like something just in your gut you feel they wouldn't probably want to pursue because of the very thing you just talked about. Yet another requirement on small business in America. It just feels like that would be not in their DNA. Is there any possibility of that? Have they been talking about this requirement at all?
They haven't taken a significant position on this requirement one way or the other. But, Simon, I think that's a very good point. That was sort of our reaction a year or so ago when you start hearing more and more about this requirement. I think it could be one of those that falls by the wayside, which means then that perhaps if you're a small business owner and you haven't done this, that you continue to hold off and kind of see how this thing plays out.
There you go. Joel Garris, thank you very much. By the way, you can tune in to Dollars and Cents every Sunday at 9 a.m. with Joel Garris, right here on his very fine radio station. If I don't speak to you before, a very happy new year to you, sir.
And same to you, Simon, as well.
You take care. It is 7:19, and are you any the wiser? I am. I thought that was a useful segment. This is Good Morning Orlando.